This is boshintang, a Korean soup, especially popular on very hot days. But pretty soon it's going to be off the menu in South Korea because the main ingredient is dog meat, and the South Korean government is banning it.
Under the law, people who farm, butcher and sell dogs to eat will face up to 3 years in prison.
Why now? This new bill won't make it illegal to eat dog meat, but it will ban breeding, butchering, distributing, and selling dogs for meat. In 2022, a government report figured every year more than 500,000 dogs are raised in some 1,100 dog meat farms across the country. They also estimate there are around 1,600 restaurants still making and selling dog-based dishes in South Korea. Now let's tackle this head on. Eating dog has a long, complicated history in South Korea that historians believe goes back hundreds, if not thousands of years. In part because of things like this cookbook that was originally written in the 1800s and includes a recipe for boshintang, that soup we mentioned. Some say it dates back to a time when South Korea had food shortages, when there was a need for a protein source. But experts also agree that dog meat has never really been a key part of the Korean diet, and people eat a lot less of it these days. According to a 2022 Gallup poll, only 8% of South Koreans said they had tried dog meat in the past 12 months, down from 27% in 2015. And less than a fifth of people in that poll said they had a favorable view of eating dog meat. The vast majority saw it as a negative thing.
There are now 6 million dogs that are companion animals in South Korea. So people live with these animals and develop a bond with the animals, with the dogs. And they're actually seeing the connection between the animal that is in the cage and served as food and the animal that is sitting next to them at home.
Dogs are like family now, and it's not nice to eat our family.
But here's the thing. While consumption and support for dog meat farming is at an all-time low in South Korea, those who want it can still get it.
This alleyway is one of the few places you can still come to eat dog meat here in Seoul.
And we're still talking about a largely unregulated industry, often an international target.
South Korea had a special place in the dog meat trade because it was the only country that was raising dogs for meat.
In some countries where people eat dog, they often catch stray dogs. But activists say in South Korea, it's more like factory farming.
The animals are crammed into cages. There is in unsanitary conditions. They receive no care, no veterinary care, almost no food and clean water.
South Korea's Animal Protection Act does explicitly prohibit animals suffering in the dog meat trade, but activists have long argued that law is ignored. Either way, this is not a flattering image for any country, especially one whose global influence is on the rise.
문화 강국이라고 생각하는데, 왜냐하면 이제 이게 K 문화가 국제적으로 더 위상을 높이면 높일수록 더 충격을 받는 거예요. 이제 외국인들이.
It seems almost every time South Korea makes its way into the international public consciousness, dog meat is right there with it. In the lead up to the 1988 Summer Olympics in Seoul, activists asked athletes to get involved. In 2001, around the FIFA World Cup, also in South Korea, there was lots of international media attention.
Like many farms, this one has dogs. But these aren't farm dogs, they're farmed dogs.
It's just incredible cruelty is going on.
And in 2018, the same year South Korea was set to host another round of Olympic Games, the Animal Welfare Institute put out a scathing report, arguing dogs raised for food commonly endure a lifetime of abuse and often are slaughtered in a manner that is nightmarish in its brutality. This is especially true in South Korea. It got so bad that volunteers from Canada and the United States started traveling across the world, flying thousands of kilometers to these farms to try and shut them down and get the dogs out. And now, here we are. There's been definite movement over the years on the government's part to put an end to this industry. And this most recent development, the all-out ban, is South Korea's last big push.
We are globally just so happy. We've witnessed what is happening on these farms, and just knowing that there is an end to it in the near future is just personally very rewarding.
Now, there's a runway here. The ban takes effect in 3 years from now, so the industry has time to phase it out. You know, think of all of the farmers, the producers, the restaurants who will have to adjust in a pretty big way. But once the law does kick in, violating it could mean 2 to 3 years in prison and fines of up to 30 million South Korean won, which is about $30,000 Canadian. The government is offering compensation packages to help businesses transition out of the industry, but many farmers are not happy at all. There have been, in some cases, violent protests, and there are promises for more. Protests and legal challenges.